He says whenever he engages himself in prayer, or he hears the name of Allah, or the Prophet ﷺ, he cries, he starts to cry. Is this a good sign or a bad sign? Or can this be from Riya?
It should be a good sign, but whether it's Riya is an Arabic word which means showing off. And this disease is considered as a minor shirk, is very fatal. The Prophet ﷺ warned his nation a lot against it, because it ruins one's deeds. It is doing an act of worship in order to please others, not Allah the Almighty. Purifying your voice in the recitation in order to be praised by others. Showing off that you're fasting or with your long prayer in order to be praised by others. Your deed will be neglected. It will not be rewarded whatsoever by God, in addition to committing a big sin. So the person who should answer the question whether this is a softness in your heart and get emotional, reacting with the verses or with the name of Allah properly to the point that you shed tears, whether this practice is out of sincerity or showing off, no one ever could tell other than Allah the Almighty but you. You are the one who are able to tell whether you're doing this out of sincerity or showing off. Allah the Almighty in the second verse of Surah Al-Anfal says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم وإذا تليت عليهم آياته زادتهم إيمانا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون. Allah the Almighty says what it means. Indeed, the believers, and this rate is only for the believers, are those whom whenever Allah's name is mentioned, their hearts will be full of fear. His greatness, His magnificence, His majesty. You're talking about Allah. You're talking about Allah. This word by itself, once Prophet Muhammad, while he was returning from an expedition, he took a shelter or a break or a nap beneath the shade of a tree. And he was hanging his sword from a branch of this tree. So one of the enemies, one of the disbelievers, attacked him in his sleep, and he grabbed hold of the Prophet's sword and he placed it on his neck. He said, "Get up, Muhammad. Who could save you from me now? Who could save your life?" I mean, before I hear the answer, I just didn't know what would be the reaction of any ordinary person. If your enemy is pointing the sword against your neck and threatening your life, what would you do? So the Prophet's reaction was only saying, Allah, Allah, Allah. Once he said that, the enemy dropped the sword. And the Prophet ﷺ picked it up and said, "What about you now? Who would save you from me?" So he said, "O Muhammad, kun khayra akhidh." Be better than me. Be the best person when it comes to control. So the Prophet ﷺ let him go with one condition. After he offered him Islam, and this is a very important message also as well, by the way, he refused. So he said, "But when I set you free, you do not assist others against us, nor would you fight against us." So the man agreed. And now the Prophet ﷺ had control over him. And he could have killed him. And he deserved that. But he did not. He did not even force him to accept Islam. The catch in this story is that the word Allah is the most magnificent word ever. And the great statement is, "La ilaha illallah, Muhammadun Rasulullah." Musa alayhi salam, Prophet Moses once said to Allah the Almighty, "Oh Allah, teach me a special invocation just for Moses." So Musa alayhi salam was informed. Allah the Almighty told him, "Ya Musa, say La ilaha illallah." Say there is no God worthy of worship but Allah. So Musa alayhi salam said, "Oh Allah, all your servants say the same. I want a special invocation." So Allah the Almighty said, "Ah Moses, that by Allah, indeed, that if all the heavens and the earth and what's in between were put on one part of the scale, and La ilaha illallah was put on the other part, La ilaha illallah by itself would outweigh all of that." It is the great word. So when the person is sincere, when the person is a true believer, and he hears the name of Allah, he hears the Quranic verses, and he reacts with that accordingly, his heart will be full of fear and hope. And وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. And it will increase you in faith and will make you put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That should be the proper reaction towards the Quranic verses here in the name of Allah or the name of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As far as